Okay, this is already lesson number 5 in Learn How to Code with Python, and in this lesson we will wrap up with the basics that you really need to know before we can take the next step. And I will be talking some more again about variables. We already looked at variables in the previous lesson when we were using it to store data from a file and then writing it out again. But there's another important connected principle, and that's principle thing you need to know, and that's data types. So what are data types? You've already seen some of them, like the string. So the hello world example. Hello world. This is a string. So if we use the type again, that's actually the data type that it asks for. Type hello world. World. That gives back string. So the type for 1. I really need to learn how to type better. Type 1 gives int, and then type 1.0 that gives back, well, float. So these are the 3 types that you've already seen, string, int, and float. And what you usually see is that data in some form of data type is temporarily stored into a variable and then being processed and then written out to somewhere again. So that looks something like this. Variable 1 is 1. And it means that data, in this case the number 1, with the data type integer, is being stored in a location in memory, and that's being referenced by the variable with variable name var1. So var1, if I type this, then in the background the computer or the Python interpreter will match this variable name var1 with a location in memory where the data, in this case the number 1, is stored, and that's why the interpreter returns the number 1. Strings, integers, and float are fairly simple data types and have a very simple structure. There are 3 other data types that I want to discuss that are very useful, and the first one you've seen also already, and that's called the list. And the list is, as the name already says, it's a list of variables that are combined together in a particular order. So a list can be something like this. Let's say we have the var1 that we already have, and also we have a var2, and that's the string 2. So we have var1 and we have var2. Yes. We can put these 2 variables, one of them is an int and the other one is a string. We can put them together into a list. So a list is and we can and this, well, let's first put it in a list before we continue. So we can say var1 and var2 like this. This is a list, so the square brackets make this a list. So if I press enter, then you can see we have a list 1, string 2. And this list can also be stored into memory so we can reference it later. So we can say list 1 is the list of var 1 and var 2. So this returns nothing, and then later on we can call it again list 1, and we have it again. So that's a list. Then what's the best thing to explain? Let's show a practical usage of this. Let's read in the document that we had, doc, and then we'll open the document. Oh, it's on the desktop. What was it? Lorem. Oh, there it is. Oh, lorem ipsum.txt. So we read this into doc, and if you want to see the first line, we just do read line. Oh, typo. Read line. So there it is. So we've seen already the split function that we can use on documents, and that returns a list. And I didn't point it out too clearly because I hadn't explained lists before, but now you know what a list is. So let's say the doc has a list, and so we read in the first line of the document, and we will split it on a comma. So it will split here, and it will put this text as the first element of a list, and then this of the second all the way to the next comma, which is here, and then it will take this one as the third, etc., etc. So let's see what that will look like. So now if we ask for the doc list, doc read line split comma, what's going wrong here? We split on comma. Oh yes, the readline function reads in the line, and then if you call again the read line, it reads the next line. So let's see, how can we fix this? We have to close the doc and then open it again. Oh. So there we go. So if I, just to show you, if I do doc readline again, here it just gave back a line break. This is a line break, this here. So if I do readline now, it will give the third line of the document, because it's the third time I will call readline. So if I do readline, you see, this will be the third line. Let's just check. Let's show you. So this was the first line, the read line. This was the second, and the third time that I called it this one. So if I call it again, it will give a blank line again. And there we go. Let's just show you while we're at it. Read line, and then again read line, the next line. So read line calls line after line after line. So how will I proceed? Now it will give. So the next time, this one here, this is a line that will come back, and now I will store it into memory. So now if I call this line, I can call it again. So let's split this line line, and I'll put it into line split variable, and I'll do line dot split. And now line split will is a variable that references a list of this line, of this text, that's being split by a comma. So we will have a list that contains this part and this text as an element, this text as an element, etc. So let's have a look. So line split looks like this. So here you have it. It does not include the commas in the text because it's been split on it. So this is one element, this is one element, and this is another element, etc. So let's say we want to have want to print out only the first element, line split, and then only the first element. The first element can be referenced by using square brackets, and then the first element is the 0 index. So let's go into lists and indexes a little bit further. So if we have a list like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, then 1 in this case is on on the 0 index of the list, 2 is on the first index, 3 is on the second index, and 4 is on the third index. So list items can be called by referencing their index, so their position in the list, and the first item in a list is always on the 0th index. So lists are 0 indexed. So if I want to call just number 1, then I can call it by calling and referencing the 0th index, like so. If I want to call number 2, I do the first index. Number 3, second. Oh. Have a good measure. The last one, number 3, like so. Okay, I'll leave it at this for now. There's a lot more to be explained about lists, but this is the most basic stuff you need to know. And let's have a look at some other data types that are also available. So we had string, we had int, we had float, and now list. Then number 5 is the dictionary, or dict. And let's just give you number 6 as well already. That's the tuple. Is it written like this? Tuple. Anyway, so let's first look at dictionary. Dictionary is, as the word says, it's a handy data structure for looking up data. And a dictionary in Python is written like this. So if you have my dict variable, then a dictionary is created by using curly brackets. So this is a dictionary which is currently empty. So if I call it my dict, the empty dictionary is being returned. A dictionary is basically a key value pair storage. So with the list, you can retrieve a single element from the list, like say here number 4 I can retrieve by referencing the position in the list. With the dictionary you do not reference a position, but a key. So what that looks like this. So if my dict2 is a dictionary, and then the key is a string or something else, an object, can be anything. But let's use a string. So well, let's say my name, and then that's the key, and then my name is Dave. So if I want to get the value Dave, then I can call the name on the dictionary, the key name on the dictionary. So my dict2, and I'll call the name, then it returns Dave. So this is a very handy tool, because you can of course have many things in it, like name, last name, address, and then you can quickly get someone's address just by going to my dict and then address, and then it returns the address. So this is very useful if you want to quickly retrieve data, instead of when you could also store this, of course, in a list. You could do my list is, and then you could say Dave. Yes, and then you could say, okay, the 0 index is always Dave. But it's much more easy to say, okay, I want to get the name, so I call the key name, and then you get the name back of the value back that's stored on their name. Again, also here there's a lot more to say about dictionaries, how to use them, when to use them, but this is just a short explanation of what a dictionary is. Then the last thing to finish up I want to show you is a tuple, and the tuple is kind of like a list, but not quite. So let's create a tuple, and then I'll start explaining. Tuple, is it tuple P? Anyway, tuple, and a tuple, instead of like the list that's being created with square brackets, you create a tuple using round brackets, 1, 2, 3. And it's similar to a list in the sense that you can access the positions, the values in the positions. Like if I want to get the number 1, I can do my tuple 0, like so, and then I get back 1. However, there is a difference between tuples and lists, and that's list can be altered and tuples cannot be altered. In fancy terms, we would say lists are mutable and tuples are immutable. Also, I won't go into all the details about this in this lesson, but just to recap, what do we have as data types? We have floats, integers. Well, let's start with string. We have the string. We have integer. We have float. We have integer, string, integer, float, list, dictionaries, and tuples. So these are the 6 basic data types that you will come across when using when programming in general, but especially in Python. That's it for now. this was lesson number 5. I hope you liked this lesson, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching.